Hey guys, Boris Lossberg from BK. Great to be with you. BK Forex Advisors, bkforex.com. Please come visit us. More adventures in RSI Bungee this week. I wanted to share with you a couple of examples, some good and some bad, so we can take a look at the good and the bad and the ugly. And I'm going to start off with the pound dollar, which I think was kind of most interesting trade this week because it had a lot of volatility. By the way, those of you who traded this week know that it was just dead as far as the euro goes. We had some of the narrowest ranges, I believe, in 3 or 4 years. The markets are very low vol right now, so it's very difficult to make any kind of serious profits for momentum trading. But nevertheless, the RSI actually worked very well if you followed the rules. And this is the key thing that I want to discuss because, of course, I managed to break my own rules a little bit here, and I want to discuss where I went wrong as well as where I went right. So anyways, pound dollar traded this whole week above the 10 SMA, despite the fact that we had lots of sell-offs in between and we actually dipped below on an intraday basis. And one of the key things that I want to establish here, for those of you that's not clear, when you're trading the RSI bungee jump, it is very important to understand that the signal, unless it closes on a daily basis below the 10 SMA, is only an up signal. And conversely, unless it closes above the 10 SMA, is a continuous downward signal on a daily basis, because you will have these dips, but it's the daily close, and the daily close is marked as 5 p.m. New York time. That is really the critical demarcation point between which bias you're going to take, whether you're going to take only trades from the long side or only trades from the short side. So bottom line is, cable should have been only trades from the long side because it continued to remain in the uptrend most of the week. Of course, I managed to break my own rules, take a trade to the short side, got stopped out. Fortunately, I sort of flipped myself around as the power moved over, and I took the long trade, and that worked well. And then yesterday, those of you who were watching me on Twitter know that somebody had asked me, hey, is pound triggering sort of at the end of New York close? And I said, absolutely, it did trigger. I went long. A couple of you followed me. The trade actually hit 1, 2, 3, 4 hours before I went to bed, really into the early Asia, but then it had a big extension all the way through the 160s. And I think this just completely confirms the whole idea of why you want to trade with a trend. Because basically, when you're trading with a trend, you have so much momentum at your back, you have so much wind at your back that you basically naturally make those moves into the power zone, into the profit zone as you go forward. So a couple of mistakes on cable, but otherwise I really kept myself whole this week. Taking a look at a couple of other trades, let's just take a look at the euro. The euro was very, very narrow this week, but it remained to the upside, and that's the key thing. It remained to the upside, so only trades to the upside were taken. There was only actually, I think, one trade. Let me just take the euro, show you where the euro trade was. It was only like one trade we took. Yeah, just one trade here, which you can see it broke up above 65. I followed the power move into Monday morning, I believe, and that made the rounds. And then there was nothing else for the rest of the week. One of the more important things, by the way, about this is that when there is no trades, you don't take any trades. This was probably the best thing I did this week, was just simply once I sort of fixed my errors in the pound, I only took the trades that made sense. Yen was the exact opposite. Despite the fact that we had all these tests to the upside, it actually did not break to the upside until today. Today was the first day where it actually closed at the SMA, so I suppose this now is going to give you a long bias. If the yen next week opens up to the upside and we get a signal on the hourlies, it probably would be a valid long bias at this point. But all the way through, it was really just taking only short biases that worked. And let me just show you the yen trades this week. The yen trade actually was only one trade here, again, to the short side that I took. Let me see, make sure that it was the only one. Yeah, because what happened was I'd actually missed a couple of other signals because I was just too busy in the yen. And speaking of missing signals, the other currency pair that set up quite nicely was the Aussie. The Aussie continues to be in a very hardcore downward trend. One of the best things, by the way, about sort of looking at the RSI bungee jump setup is how simple and clear it makes directionality. One of the things that you sort of see when you just remove everything else and suspend your disbelief and you remove all of your fundamental prejudices from the picture is to see that bottom line is the Aussie has just been a one-way trip to the downside, and until and unless it breaks to the upside and closes above the 10 SMA, it really isn't even close to giving you any kind of an upward bias. So there was lots of downward trades in the Aussie. Unfortunately, I think I was only able to make one. Let me just take a look. Here's the Aussie. Yeah, I was only able to make one because I was basically very, I couldn't catch any of these trades because I was distracted with some other stuff in BK. But bottom line is, you can see, first of all, if you just took the proper trades, it was a 4-for-4 week in the majors for the trades that I took, and it could have been a 5-for-5 week. So tremendously powerful setup, plus 100, 130 points in this week in the setup. Really great idea. Still loving the RSI bungee jump. Next week, I'm going to show you sort of a reverse version of this, something that I'm just fooling around for those of you who just hate the idea of selling lows and buying highs and just continuously want to find value. There may be an interesting turn in how you can trade the RSI bungee jump this way as well. But I'll share that idea with you next week. Meantime, come join us, BK Forex Advisor, bkforex.com. We are running a super special promotion right now, still running through the end of this week. So I hope you guys come join us. Boris Schlossberg, over and out.